Hi, 8th graders, and welcome to a new week. Here we are almost at the end of October, and you have made it through first quarter. I know that for some of you, starting the 8th grade grammar was a little bit intimidating, and rightfully so. The 8th grade starts off like gangbusters. Hopefully, slowing down and doing some things like punctuation has been a little bit of a relief for you. And I hope that this video doesn't insult your intelligence too much. It's probably going to be short and sweet. I just want to go over a couple of things with lesson 22 and 23 before you do the homework, which will be on tomorrow. You'll be doing page 118, so I don't even think you're doing anything on lesson 22. So if I'm insulting your intelligence, just, zone out for a few minutes, but hopefully maybe we can try to find one thing that you've learned from here. If you come in to class on Wednesday and tell me one thing that you learned from the video, then there might be some little prizes. I had a lot of candy left over when I was making some treat bags for our teachers and appreciating them for their first quarter efforts. So I have a lot of that left, and I might be willing to trade if you can come in and tell me one thing you learned. So we're going to take a look first at lesson 22, which is on page 110. And this talks about end punctuation of sentences. Now, I hope that since 3rd or 4th grade, you've known how to end your sentences. And whether you use a period, question mark, or exclamation point, I hope that that has been a regular part of your writing. I have not seen too many issues with punctuation, but it is a good time to review and make sure we are doing these things. I'm not even going to spend a whole lot of time on your period, question marks, and exclamation points. You should be familiar with these. I will make one note. Please do not overuse exclamation points. And I need to preach to myself because I love to use exclamation points. And if you ever see Facebook posts or notes that I write to our teachers, I probably use them 1,000 times. So if you see me using them too much and you catch me doing it, then you can say something, and there might be prizes in that as well. So in your writing, I would say exclamation points tend to come up quite a bit, like when you are doing dialogue between characters in a story. So that would be where I would see them if a character is excited about something. But don't overuse them too much in your regular writing unless there is something dramatic that you want to convey. But I do want to talk about the ellipsis, because this can be overused and it can be underused. It is a good tool, and it is used to show that something is omitted in a quoted passage or to shorten what someone is saying or writing. So let's say that you get to your research paper and you find this amazing quote from Robert E. Lee, but it's like 6 pages long. And you don't want to put the whole thing in there, but there's some significant pieces that you might want to use. In that case, you would do something like this. So here's a passage from Genesis in the beginning, and then it skips to the earth was without form and void. And so in that quote, the person decided not to quote everything, but just to use the beginning and perhaps the end. You can use the ellipsis several times, so perhaps you want to hit a point that someone says in the beginning of a quote and then the middle and the end. So you might have several places that you can use it. It does save space, and if I tell you to write a 5-page paper but you turn it in and it has a 4-page quote, I'm probably going to turn it back to you. So that would be some place where you could use this tool. It can be overused as well, and I'm a person that does overuse it quite a bit. I tend to put phrases together in sentences and use the ellipsis to kind of join them all together. It's okay in formal language, but not in formal writing to do that. So again, if you catch me, then let me know. All right, so that's really all I have to say about end punctuation. Again, your intelligence should be very insulted that I even had to go over this with you. End punctuation is not a terrible problem. However, commas tend to be a problem in writing in middle school. And so I do want to teach you the 3 main rules, and then we're going to move to other rules with commas and some problems then on Wednesday when we have class. So the 3 main rules are that you use a comma before, possibly after, a coordinating conjunction that joins the clauses, and I'm going to give you some examples. But there you would see a comma creating a pause and then moving on in the sentence. The second thing is to separate a series of items. So if I list off all of the things I want for my birthday or Christmas, I would use commas between each one. And then finally, to set off certain introductory material, and I'll give you some examples when we get to that. So first, I want to remind you what the coordinating conjunctions are. And, or, nor, for, but, and yet. And our 3rd graders have been learning some of these, and our 7th graders have been hitting them as well. Please commit these to memory. These are the ones that are going to connect those independent clauses, or compound verbs, subjects, or direct objects. So don't forget these, and try to use a variety in your writing. Don't just say and all the time. See if you can fit one of these others in when you're doing your writing. So here's an example. The dogs ate the food, comma, and then we have the coordinating conjunction, but the cats ran away. So I want to see that pause, and so you would put the comma between food and but, or you could say the dogs ate the food, comma, and the dogs ran away. So get into the habit of putting that comma before the coordinating conjunction. Now, it also is going to give you a little pause between each item in a series. So, Dad likes lasagna, French bread, garden salad, and cheesecake for dessert. So we have 3 commas in there. We put a comma between each item that's listed, lasagna, comma, French bread, comma, garden salad, comma. And you put it, and this goes back to the coordinating conjunction idea. This is not a separate independent clause, but there's that coordinating conjunction popping up, and so it is also going to receive the comma. Now, there are 2 rules on this. There are some that say don't put the comma here before the and then there are those that say put it in. I tend to err on the side of caution. Go ahead and put it in. It doesn't hurt anything. Okay, and then the final thing is introductory material. So this would be when you introduce a statement with a yes or no, or can I have everyone's attention, comma. And so there's a couple of examples. The first one would be like if you're going to answer yes or no to something. Say it and then comma. No, I will not be coming. Anytime there's a pause, you want to put that comma. And then also a lot of our prepositional phrases, and then sometimes our gerunds and our infinitives, they come in the beginning of a sentence. We want to see a comma separating them. Here's a prepositional phrase, in the meadow, comma, the deer slept. So anytime we take a break, you are generally going to put a comma. Here's something I want you to be in the habit of regularly doing. When you write, I want you to take a pause between paragraphs to read out loud what you have written. And if you pause at some point in your writing, you probably need a comma there. So if you can get into that habit of not just reading with your eyes, but read with your mouth and your ears and look for the pauses, your writing will probably get better. Now, you could also overuse commas, which people tend to do when they're afraid they're not going to get all those commas in. So you just have to be careful and ask for someone to edit it for you. So that's really all I have. Hopefully most of this was an insult to your intelligence, and you will be able to move right on to the to the homework and do it quite well. I just want to make a comment about the IEW video that you are watching by Pudua. If you are unable to access it, I would try back a little bit later. I have given you the login information to my account and the password, and then you are looking for week 6 when it brings up the information you're looking for week 6. This, however, was done with younger children, but it's the same idea that we're going to be doing. And instead of me creating a video, I want to take you to the source as much as I can this year. So please have fun with that and enjoy listening to that, and I will see you on Wednesday.